Last night, I took on the challenge of tasting everything on the menu at Norway's newest fine dining restaurant, created by one of the most awarded Michelin-star chefs in the country. But here's the question: how good was it? Björn Svensson, a chef known for closing his Michelin-star restaurants just as quickly as he opens them, can he pull it off again and add yet another Michelin star to his portfolio? Well, as a seasoned sommelier who's dined at some of the world's best restaurants, I'm putting my expertise to the test. Join me as I break down every dish and give you my honest, unfiltered review. Trust me, you won't want to miss the verdict at the end of this episode. Originally from Sundsvall, Sweden, Björn Svensson began his Michelin-star journey at Kong Hans Kelder in Copenhagen before refining his craft at Oslo's prestigious two-star restaurant Bagatelle, under the leadership of Eivind Hellstrøm. In 2007, Björn opened his first restaurant, Oscarsgate, in Oslo, quickly earning a Michelin star in 2008. Despite its success, he closed Oscarsgate in 2012. A year later, in 2013, he launched Fauna, which also received a Michelin star, but it unexpectedly shut its doors in 2016. Undeterred, Björn opened restaurant Galt in 2017, earning yet another Michelin star in record time. But like his previous ventures, Galt closed after less than 3 years. Despite previous closure, Björn launched Slegegården just outside Oslo in 2021. As anticipated, it earned a Michelin star in 2022, but by 2023 it already closed. Björn had publicly declared he was done with opening restaurants, but in a surprising turn he announced a new venture for summer 2024. The restaurant named Fan, a Swedish expletive, seems to reveal his mixed emotions about the decision. Is Björn drawn back to the restaurant world despite his reluctance? Or does the bold name reflect his internal conflict with leaving his passion behind? Later in this episode, I'll share insights from my interview with Björn, where he was very candid about his decision just a few months ago. So what really happened here? Let's visit Björn at his new restaurant to find out. To find Björn's new restaurant, we're gonna take the tram to Frogner in the western part of the city. Right now we're in downtown Oslo. In fact, we're just across the street from 3 Michelin-star restaurant Maemo, which I have a brand new review coming out in a couple of weeks. In my Maemo video, I talked to the head chef Jay Boyle about the new menu. I ate all the dishes and drink some fantastic wine, so make sure to subscribe, don't miss that video. Just across the street from here we have Bygde Allé, one of the finest addresses in Oslo, and this is where restaurant Fan is located. And I think the address is no coincidence, because behind me right here was Norway's first 2 Michelin star restaurant, Bagatelle, where Björn started his culinary career in Norway. And now, more than 20 years later, Björn is opening his new restaurant just a few meters from here in Bygde Allé 9. Let's go have a look. You guys all ready to open? Wow. Hey Björn! Hi! So as you can see, it's only 48 hours to opening day, so it's super busy. A lot of people in action. The whole kitchen team is prepping, and they're actually doing the last construction work, so everything is in order for the opening. With just 48 hours until the grand opening, the menu is finalized, but before we dive into the food, I want to get to the heart of why he decided to open this new restaurant. The reason? Well, it quickly became clear, because
I tried to open another business, another project.
In short, his previous venture didn't unfold as planned, and Björn ultimately came to the conclusion that
I can't...
Despite some mixed emotions, I can tell Björn's drive to launch this new restaurant is strong. After all,
I like to run the restaurant,
anyone who's worked in a Michelin-star restaurant can relate to the mixed emotions that come with it. But after a long conversation with Björn, this frustration gradually turned into excitement as we dive into the details of his new menu. Will he stick to his signature New Nordic cuisine? Or is he exploring a completely new concept this time? As you'll see later in this episode, when I explore the full menu, Björn stays true to his roots. But this time, is there a touch more playfulness and experimentation in his creations? There is no doubt that Björn pours immense effort into everything he does. I'm eager to taste it all, but for now, I'll let him focus on the final preparations while I get ready for the grand opening in just 48 hours. And just like that, it's opening day. I arrive at the restaurant just before the first guests, and despite the excitement of a brand new venture, the staff is calm and composed. It's clear this team is seasoned and passionate about what they do. The dining room feels warm and inviting, with tables set, candles glowing, and a serene ambience filling the space. The interior embraces classic Scandinavian minimalism. Cool neutrals balanced with soft, warm beige tones. Adding a bold contrast, custom paintings by Norwegian artist Björn Svensson inject vibrant colors and dynamic energy into the room. The attention to detail is clear, from the beautifully crafted ceramic plates by Norwegian designer Anette Krogstad to the sleek glassware from Hadeland Glassworks' new Icon series. As we're seated, the waiter suggests starting the evening with a glass of champagne to accompany the first couple of snacks. They offer two options by the glass, the prestigious Krug or their house champagne, a Blanc Noir's Premier Cru from Allocherie Perceval. We decided to leave Krug's hefty price tag for Alexander's potential future visits and opted for the house champagne, which turned out to be an excellent choice. It's not only great value for money, but also a testament to the expertise of sommelier Kine Jøndal, who has clearly selected wines of both high quality and intrigue from the very start. On the palate is a full-bodied and well-structured champagne, with those vibrant red fruits balanced by bright layers of candied citrus, lemon and orange zest in particular. It's an absolute pleasure to drink, so much so that our waiter topped up our glasses twice before we'd even finished the snacks. Throughout the evening, our glasses were generously refilled multiple times, without affecting the price of the wine pairing. This is an all too rare practice in fine dining, where wine pairings are often poured in such small quantities that it limits your ability to truly savor the wine before, during, and after each course. The menu at Restaurant Farm features an 8-course tasting menu priced at 135 euros. For those looking to elevate the experience, there are additional à la carte dishes available to customize your meal. We decided to indulge in 2 extra starters served before the main snack, adding an additional 50 euros, bringing the total to 185 euros. For wine enthusiasts, there's a thoughtfully curated wine pairing priced at 90 euros for 6 glasses, carefully selected to complement the flavors of each dish. The meal begins with the 2 extra dishes we added to our experience. First up, a Björn Svensson classic, Västerbotten cheese. This Swedish cheese, often compared to Parmigiano Reggiano in texture, was served as a pie and topped with calyx, løyrom and sour cream. The dish offered a lovely balance of textures with a creamy, mellow flavor that made for a perfect start. Next, we have a standout dish, pickled beetroot, caviar and bone marrow. If you're only going to add 1 extra dish to your meal, make it this one. The earthy sweetness of the pickled beetroot paired with the rich umami-filled bone marrow and the delicate caviar created a truly exceptional flavor combination. But I think the best way to capture it is in Björn's own words.
Something you don't need to change.
After starting off with these 2 extra dishes, it was time for the snack serving that is a part of the menu. A biscuit topped with crayfish and a custard with horseradish. Both were light in style, offering a satisfying crunch and texture from the biscuit and custard. There's a little to fault here, but in my opinion, these 2 delicate bites would have been better served before our extra dishes. The Västerbotten pie and the beetroot dish were far more complex and intense in flavor, and adjusting the order would have created a smoother flavor progression. It's a small detail, but one that could elevate the overall experience. The final snack arrives at the table, and while the first 2 bites were light and delicate, this one is an absolute flavor bomb. Cured duck breast paired with trout roe and pickled mustard seeds, all brought together by a rich, buttery sauce that's simply divine. The dish strikes a perfect balance with a lovely acidity cutting through the richness of the sauce. We are still sipping on the champagne. I've lost count of the top-ups by now, but soon our waiter returns with the first white wine of the evening, a crisp, dry Riesling. This Riesling is crisp and lively, bursting with bright citrus notes of lemon and lime, layered with green apple and a subtle touch of florals. Its mineral backbone and refreshing acidity are a perfect match for the next dish. Here we have kohlrabi paired with black currant leaves, and plums. While I appreciate the chef's attempt to elevate a typically secondary ingredient, this dish fell short for me. It lacked the complexity and excitement of the other courses, feeling a bit flat and missing that wow factor I was hoping for. Our waiter returns with another fascinating white wine, and this one is truly special. It's a 100% Verdejo from the small village of Nieva in Segovia within Spain's Castilla y León's region. There's a note of stone fruits, citrus, and a touch of herbs, all underpinned by a striking minerality. On the palate, it's wonderfully balanced with bright acidity and flavors of green apple, pear, and almond that flow into a long, mineral-driven finish. To complement this wine, we served a Norwegian classic with a Japanese minimalistic twist. Raw scallops, lightly seared on one side, sliced and placed delicately atop baked leek. Beneath it all is a clean, mellow dashi that brings everything together. Björn has put a lot of thought into this dish, as we discussed, and it shows in every detail. However, for me, there was something missing in this dish. While technically flawless and beautifully paired with wine, it leaned a bit too far into minimalism for my taste. I find myself craving more concentrated flavors and perhaps a few contrasting elements to elevate the overall experience. Next, we're presented with a small interlude between courses, traditional Scandinavian knäckebröd.
Knäckebröd, good, you say it exactly what I want.
A crisp bread made from a blend of rye and wheat. Simple yet classic, it offers a satisfying crunch and a taste of Scandinavian tradition. It's served with Swedish cheese and a hint of caraway, and I think this is a brilliant move by Björn.
In Sweden, we eat a lot of knäckebröd. Knäckebröd for me is...
Knäckebröd is something all Scandinavians are familiar with as a simple staple for breakfast or lunch. But here, he's elevated it into a refined snack in a fine dining setting. It's a playful nod to tradition with a sophisticated twist. We continue the journey with another wine from the pairing, a blend of 70% of Sauvignon Blanc and 30% Semillon. You might think of Bordeaux with this combination, but it actually hails from Brunia wines in the Sondagskloof Valley near Walker Bay in South Africa. On the nose, it offers aromas of citrus, green apple, and a subtle flinty minerality. The palate is a beautiful balance of vibrant acidity and a round, textured mouthfeel with flavors of ripe pear, lemon zest, and a delicate touch of spice. Paired with this wine is what turned out to be the highlight of the evening. Grilled langoustine with a miso glaze and juniper served alongside onion compote and an incredible smoked butter sauce. This dish is absolute perfection with a stunning combination of rich, smoky flavors balanced by sharp acidity. The wine pairing is spot on. The bright acidity cuts through the richness of the dish, enhancing each bite. A truly excellent choice by the sommelier. Following the exceptional langoustine, we move on to the obligatory bread and butter serving.
Bread and butter, 10 out of 10.
Fresh from the oven, the bread is warm with a rich, slightly tangy flavor that pairs beautifully with the creamy, indulgent butter from Feeteside. Simple yet satisfying, it's a comforting pause before the next course. Our cheerful waiter returns, this time with a Portuguese white wine from the Douro Valley, crafted by the renowned Luís Seabra. The nose is complex and mineral-driven with citrus, green apple, and subtle floral notes intertwined with hints of whetstone and flint. On the palate, it's crisp and fresh, bright acidity, and a beautifully layered texture. The long, refreshing finish makes it the perfect match for our next dish, halibut with chrome dill sauce and fennel oil. This is another standout, showcasing a rich, concentrated sauce balanced by sharp acidity. While I did miss a bit of texture, it's a minor detail in what otherwise is an excellent dish. Before we dive into the final main course, it's time for a red wine, one that needs little introduction. You're in for a treat. The 2017 Chateau Musard. The wine boasts a complex nose of dark fruits, dried figs, spices, leather, and earthy tones. On the palate, it's full-bodied with flavors of plum, blackcurrant, and a distinctive minerality balanced by firm tannins and bright acidity. It's a great match for tonight's main course. Beer-braised Wagyu brisket with a rhubarb glaze, spinach cream, and a rich sauce made with marchon and sherry, adding a subtle oxidized touch. The meat, though flavorful, is a bit tough, but the bold sauce paired wonderfully with the wine. Interestingly, Björn mentioned later that he's since swapped the brisket for lamb, which should offer a more tender and refined experience. With the meat course behind us, our waiter returns with the final wine of the evening, a sweet Moscato from Piemonte. A beautiful golden wine with amber highlights offering a rich bouquet of candied citrus, apricot, and spices. On the palate, you get layers of fresh and dried fruits, spices, and baked apple. And with this sweet wine in hand, you know it's time for dessert. And what a dessert! I'm a big fan of ice cream, but I've never tasted it made with spruce before. The sweetness was perfectly balanced by the unique acidity and herbal notes from the spruce tips, giving it a supple, rosemary-like flavor. The ice cream was served with fresh blueberries and topped with more spruce tips. I love this dessert, but I wasn't as thrilled with the wine pairing. Maybe my palate was getting tired after 5 hours, but it didn't quite hit the mark for me. To wrap up the night, we opted for a coffee and a glass of grappa, hoping to either settle the feast in our stomachs or, more likely, add to the complexity, who knows. The coffee from Tim Wendelbo was fantastic. Who doesn't appreciate a good Nordic roast? Björn joined us at the table with some petit fours, and we had a great conversation about the intense yet controlled opening of his new restaurant. Before I share my final rating and review, I want to thank you for watching. If you found value in this video, please hit subscribe and support our mission to spotlight some of the best chefs and sommeliers at the world's finest restaurants. Thank you. On the drive home, I reflected on the experience while the dark, wet, and chilly autumn had fully settled in. I'm already looking forward to my next visit, and I'm confident it will be even better than tonight. Will it earn a Michelin star in 2025? I believe it will. However, my final rating for this opening day service is as follows. Let's start with the interior and atmosphere. Good chairs, classic Scandinavian design. However, we were not too happy with the lighting and acoustics. It was also quite hot and humid as the restaurant filled up and the tempo increased. Still quite good all in all, and our rating for this category is 7 out of 10. The next category is service. It's attentive and professional, but not very personal. We also had a really hard time hearing what one of the waiters said, making it difficult to understand what was in each of the dishes. Our rating for service is still high, as it was all good intentions and a friendly vibe all night. 16 out of 20 points. The wine category is next, and while the wines selected was generally good, there also was some inconsistency and not the best pairings at all times. Generous pouring is always a plus though, and it is also a really well-priced wine pairing. So with that in mind, we end up with 16 out of 20 points. The last and most important category is obviously the food. Every serving is very familiar and classic Björn Svensson. The quality is high, however, some dishes did not stand out and felt too minimalistic. So we ended up with a score of 43 out of 50 points for the food. So all in all, 82 out of 100 points. That is right in the middle of the good restaurant category on the taste bud scale. Maybe not quite up there among the stars yet, but most likely it will be very soon. For comparison, watch my detailed review of this one Michelin star restaurant called Stallen, close to here. Based on their Michelin star, they should definitely rate higher than Fahn's 82 points. But did they?